So, what really makes a player the greatest of all time? I mean, is it just about the individual awards, the team trophies, or is it maybe something else, something deeper, like a story of overcoming impossible odds to get to the very top? Today, we're going to dive into the career of Lionel Messi, a player whose incredible story might just give us the answer. Okay, let's just start with one number: 8. This is his record-breaking number of Ballon d'Or awards. That's the trophy they give to the single best player on the entire planet each year. And just to put that into perspective for you, no other player in history has won that many, not even close. All right, how about another one? 46. That's the all-time record for major team trophies won by a single professional footballer. We're talking league titles, the Champions League, you name it. Oh, and yeah, the World Cup. His trophy cabinet is just overflowing. So, yeah, it's absolutely no surprise he's considered one of the greatest to ever kick a ball. But here's the thing about those incredible numbers we just saw. They're just the end result. To really understand the legend, we gotta go all the way back to the beginning. See, Messi wasn't just a prodigy. He was a seriously unlikely one. His journey didn't start with some clear, paved road to glory. Nope. It started with a huge challenge that almost ended his career before it even had a chance to begin. Picture this, you're just 10 years old. In your hometown in Argentina, you're already a local legend, a little kid who seems to have the soccer ball just glued to his feet. But then you get some devastating news from the doctor. Your dream isn't just in jeopardy, it's about to be shattered. The diagnosis was growth hormone deficiency. Basically, his body wasn't making the hormones it needed for him to grow. Now, there was a treatment, but it was incredibly expensive. We're talking around $1,000 a month. That was a sum his working-class family and his local club just couldn't possibly afford. And this quote from his youth coach just captures the whole situation perfectly. When you first looked at him, you'd think, there's no way, this kid can't play, he's just too small, too fragile. But then, he'd get the ball. And everyone watching knew they were seeing something truly out of this world. And this is where the story takes a legendary turn. Scouts from the European powerhouse FC Barcelona saw what others were missing. They saw the genius, not just the small kid. And in a moment that's now part of football history, the club's director was so scared of losing him that he famously scribbled out a contract on a paper napkin. That napkin promised to cover all his medical bills, and it would end up changing the entire course of football. And just like that, one of the greatest eras in club football history began. We're talking about Messi's 17-year dynasty at FC Barcelona, where that unlikely prodigy became an absolute global superstar. I mean, his rise was just meteoric. He made his debut as a teenager in 2004, but it was really 2008, under manager Pep Guardiola, that he just exploded onto the world stage. He led the team to a historic treble, that's winning 3 major trophies in a single season. His absolute peak? You could argue it was 2012, when he scored an unbelievable 91 goals in one calendar year, a record that will probably never, ever be broken. He then formed one of the most feared attacking trios ever. And by the time he left in 2021, he had 672 goals, making him, without question, the club's greatest player of all time. And maybe nobody understood his genius better than the manager who built the entire team around him. Pep Guardiola's words here say it all. He wasn't just praising a great player, he was admitting this guy was a force of nature, operating on a whole different planet. Now, of course, you simply cannot talk about this era without mentioning the other titan of the game, Cristiano Ronaldo. Their rivalry basically was the story of modern football. For over a decade, these two pushed each other to heights nobody thought were even possible. And look, the debate over who's better will probably rage on forever. But when you look at some of the key awards, and especially that World Cup trophy, you start to see the unique case for Messi. But for all the glory, for all the success he had with Barcelona, there was still one giant challenge left. This was the final, and maybe the most painful chapter in his quest, to win a major trophy for his country, Argentina. And that quest, man, it was just filled with almost unbearable heartbreak. Just imagine this. You get to the biggest final in your sport 3 years in a row, and you lose. Every single time. First, the World Cup final in 2014. Then, back-to-back losses in the Copa American finals. For the best player in the world, this was a public and just gut-wrenching burden to carry. So this became the big shadow hanging over his career. It was the one thing people could always point to. Yeah, he's a genius for his club, but can he ever deliver that ultimate prize for his nation? The pressure he was under from Argentina and the whole world was just immense. It actually got so heavy that he briefly retired from the national team back in 2016, but he came back. And after all those years of pain and coming so close, the moment of ultimate redemption finally arrived. In 2022, at 35 years old, he finally did it. He led Argentina to World Cup glory, the country's first in 36 long years. He was named player of the tournament, and he scored twice in what might be the most dramatic final anyone has ever seen. The missing piece of the puzzle was finally in place. His legacy was complete. And this brings us to a quote that really feels like a prophecy being fulfilled. All the way back in 2006, Argentina's other footballing god, the legendary Diego Maradona, pointed to a teenage Messi and called him his successor. Well, with that World Cup win, Messi didn't just inherit Maradona's place, he built his own, unique throne right alongside him. So, after every trophy has been won, every record has been shattered, what is Messi's legacy today? Well, it's something that now goes way beyond the sport itself, stretching clear across the globe. Think about it. His move to enter Miami in 2023 wasn't just some player switching teams. It sparked a full-blown cultural phenomenon people called Messi mania. I mean, practically overnight, tickets that were going for $30 were suddenly being resold for over $400. Apple's streaming subscriptions for the league reportedly doubled. He basically single-handedly put an entire league on the global map, proving his impact is now bigger than the game itself. Which really just leaves us with one final thought. For the kid who was told he was too small, who beat a medical condition that should have stopped him dead in his tracks, who conquered club football and then, finally, conquered the entire world, what is actually left to prove?